Hey Sung, I appreciate you speaking with me yesterday and kind of showing me chart metrics and what it's about. Last night I went to piece together more screenshots and images of my portfolio, and I realized a lot of things are outdated. And I haven't been maintaining a great, amazing portfolio over the last couple of years because I've been so involved with SurveyMonkey for about 6 years. And I will throw some images into a Figma document here, and it's included in this. But I thought maybe last night I decided that I should probably, something that might be more relevant is to walk through something I designed from scratch and explain it to you, and then send you the Figma link, and maybe this little video will help. I'm I'm more than happy to if you point me to a page on Chartmetrics website that you would like to see a revision of, or a reface of, or a redesign of. I would happily, spend 2 or 3 hours for free to, give you my interpretation of the same page, just so you can see my design quality. I feel like, anything I can send you from my portfolio is not going to reflect the quality of the design I can do. It sounds kind of like a designer cop out there, but I do great work. I can do Apple quality work. I do beautiful design. It's just that a lot of the portfolio stuff I have to show lately is not going to show that off well. So I'm going to show you an example today of, I mentioned that my wife was selling pillows on Amazon under her brand Lofty Sleep, which I helped her create. And they didn't have good sales metrics for that kind of thing. Amazon, believe it or not, does not show you how much money you're making, probably deliberately. So last night I put together a walkthrough of my thought process when I built my wife an accounting tool. So I'd like to show that off to you today, and maybe this will be more relevant to you because it's based on charts and data. And I think I hope this is something that's worthwhile to you to see, rather than just my 10-year-old screenshots of skeuomorphic design that I've done. All right. So one of the things I learned when my wife started selling on Amazon is Amazon metrics are completely useless. No idea how much money I'm making, right? This is an Amazon dashboard for my wife's brand. You can see she's making, well, it looks like she's making a lot of money, but this has no context. It doesn't even show you what the products sold were. So immediately, I realized that, wow, these are impressive numbers. Do they mean anything? And I went and found a third-party tool that would connect to the Amazon API and tell you stuff. But this is impossible to read. Look at this. It's here, right? You get your profits and your landed cost. This is the first thing I saw, and I couldn't believe that hundreds of thousands of people on Amazon.com were using this tool as their only source of information. It just baffled me, because when I logged in and paid $70 a month for this tool, I just could not believe the design and style of it. So, here it is showing different items sold, right? And it's like, can you believe this table, right? This is not useful data. This requires me to have accounting experience just to use this tool that I'm paying a lot of money for. So this is a tool called Seller Legend. So I decided to mock up my own idea tool after helping my wife trying to look at her business and log into these tools, for her accounting. I decided, hey, what is my thought process? What would a better tool look like? So the first thing I thought was, I wireframe. This is a wireframe quality. I figured there are some key Amazon metrics. There's time over time. So, Amazon metrics over time was the key tools here. And I wanted a simple, clean interface that pulled out the things I wanted, detailed stats immediately. And then, as the home dashboard, and then maybe I could break out more detailed information later. So this is my wireframe attempt. This is kind of before I was thinking about even making a tool. It just bugged me so much. I'm obsessed with design, and I said, what does it look like to have something better. So then I also said, what does it look like on mobile? Amazon Seller has this tool on mobile where you can see, hey, I've got 5K of sales today, 30 products were sold. Doesn't tell you what the products were. Could have been any product on the site. Just it was not good. So I mocked up a mobile wireframe like immediately. Well, how many units are sold? What are the things I want to know? Did I issue any Amazon refunds? How much did I spend on ads? What was my net profit? What's the balance on my Amazon account that I get paid out on every 2 weeks, right? My paycheck. And just boring kind of, this was my thought process. So I asked myself, what was I trying to solve? What is the issue that Amazon is not helping me solve? And it's basically browsing data over time, right? Make it easy. Don't make me think about it. Just, I started obsessing what's a better way to scrub through time, right? Because that was the big thing is my wife would look at sales for the day, for the week, for the month. And so I started thinking, well, what if I had a drop-down picker, right? So you didn't have to select time periods because all these other tools, they made you select a day and an end. And I said, okay, well, what if I build in some built-in ones? You got a period of yesterday, 7 days, week to date, all these custom periods, right? Simplify and consolidate. It just wasn't enough for me because drop downs are clunky, date selection is clunky. So the first thought I had was, well, how can I invent time travel eventually? How can I allow users to just scrub through time, right? So one of the things I said was, well, my wife checks today, she checks a week, she checks a month constantly. And, we also need to be able to custom pick. So I thought maybe I'd build something like this. And what I ended up doing was building a time scroller, right? We used a little Node.js, and I had my buddy Matt with the Ruby on the Rails. He sent all his data as a big blob. So you can see here, this is my very first attempt, right? Here in 2007 to make a time scrubber. But you can see, oh wow, we hide all these things. You can see the real-time data. You can see a day at a time. You can see all the common things, and it would click up. It was very, very satisfying. This was an immediate huge advantage over any tool out there, that existed already because you could quickly see your data. One of the things I realized is most of the data inside my application is tables. It's not sexy, it's not beautiful, but some data is just tables. You need to be able to read it easily. So I set out immediately and said, well, let's make a whole bunch of different tables, right? The competition has this table up top. This is seller legend. This is a terrible table. It looks like they took a custom component. Here's another one, another popular tool I looked at that just, these are terrible tables. These are not, this is what most apps have. We have a table system. So I said to myself, well, let's try a bunch of variations of tables. Here's my version of a cleaner table, right? You got your sales breakdown, you got the name of the product sold, units, sales, fees, additional items, right? Just show them the key metrics in a beautiful way with easy to read data and hide the excess. So you can see I experimented. Here's another version with a table header, right? I just started playing around. Here's some tables where you have to filter and flip through data, right? I want to see all the sales items that were low inventory. So I experimented and spent a lot of time with tables. How can we make them better, right? And the same thing with chart metrics. You guys have a lot of tables in there. How do we make tables the easiest to use, best experience? And I spent a lot of time obsessing about making great tables. It's hard to make tables beautiful or sexy or have good UI, but I really wanted to, you can see these are way more readable than any of this crap up here. So just spending iteration after iteration with tables where maybe you have filters that are open and various items. And you'll see this when you browse this Figma file. You can see them up close. They're pretty beautiful. Here's different inventory counts, different styles, layouts, BSR charts and ranking where you have spark lines. And I noticed Chart Metrics has that a lot. Here's where you could collapse and expand rows because there were nested items under them, right? So how does these nested items appear? Here's some different experiments with the drop down showing actions. Just spending a lot of time deeply thinking about how do we make this beautiful, but not beautiful to look pretty, beautiful that it's easy and comforting on your brain to browse this information, right? One of the key things I look at is like, sure, we can show them all the data in the world, but can I show a random person this view of our app and give them 30 seconds and then ask them afterwards, what did you take away? What did you remember anything? Can anyone grasp any information in 30 seconds or less? So one of the things I did then is I said, hey, let's try all kinds of different layouts for my dashboard app, right? I want to see what I can visually do that's going to make things better and life easier for people. And that's kind of what I started out doing. So these are kind of wireframe quality, right? You had my login, you could see this time scrubber, you could click these and all these metrics up top would change. You have the number of units I sold on Amazon, sales, net profit, my bank balance with Amazon, how much I spent on ads, how much money I gave back in refund. It's an ugly layout, but I was experimenting with data, right? My revenue, my expenses, profit, breakdown, and then showing some of those tables that I had designed here, right? You can see I've rolled up different metrics. Then I experimented, well, what if the layout's more like this? You can scrub through time and you have some visuals with sales and net profit and balance. And these little charts, while they were made the page more, visually appealing, they weren't really adding that much. And it's really hard as a designer to say, hey, there's not a lot of room for visuals in this part of the app, right? So I tried colors and different things and, all kinds of different styles and layouts and charts and graphs and, breaking down the profit and expenses. And, I did a lot of experimentation here with this kind of stuff and realized that maybe I just keep it simple, right? As much as I wanted to make it visually stunning and beautiful, sometimes it's just simple data that needs to be broken down cleanly, and no amount of colors and illustrations and artwork is just going to make it better for the user. So that's something as a designer it's hard to accept, right? Trying all kinds of different styles and what's going to be best for the user here. I experiment with different styles of navigation, inventory channels, and breaking out all this information here. I'm rambling a bit here, but there's a lot of screens here that I did in a couple hours last night. So one of the things I learned is let's keep it simple. Let's make it learnable, intuitive, and almost a reflex to use. Like, how do we apply this to chart metrics? How do we make chart metrics very intuitive? What are the key things to pull out for people? How do I take what you and the rest of the project managers work on in a wireframe context and just turn that into something that's clean, usable, and how do we get users hooked on the app, right? We make it addictive. It's without the app, you just feel like you can't survive. I have this same feeling with Shopify or Amazon where I constantly refreshing the app. I want to see those new metrics, It's addictive, right? You want to see that numbers go up. And I assume chart metrics sort of has that. People refresh and look at the page and watch their playlist count go up. So this is kind of what I ended up on. Right here is the Lofty Profits app. This is the actual app that we had running for a long time on AWS. We have our nice sidebar. It's clean. It floats. Nothing special. These are a lot of features I haven't built yet that I put in the sidebar. We had about 200 users, and it just, I'm not a marketing genius, so it was hard to, but basically we had the time scrubber, told you what time period you were scrubbing. You had a day, week, and then you could click the calendar and get custom. Hovering over some of these metrics would show a little tooltip. You had your sales for today, and you had a clean and nice revenue, expenses, and profit, a P&L statement broken out that was very useful. This was on the homepage. It's not every single thing you spent on, but these would adjust over the time period. And then basically what products you sold for the day. Sold 13 of this pillow, 7 of this, and 7 of this. And it would tell you which channel they came because I actually connected Shopify to this. So we tell you a little breakdown chart, right, on your homepage before going deep in. And these are the kind of different things that I think are good metrics here. Clean, keep it simple, keep the most important data on the main homepage. Let them deep dive on other pages. Keep it clean, keep it beautiful. Make sure the most important data is highlighted in dark, and the less important data uses lighter fonts, colors, styles. And of course here I added a dark mode because I like to try out a few things, and that was fun to do with the CSS. Breaking out charts here for the expenses, revenue, and profit. It didn't help that much. I think your app lends itself a lot more to charts and data. With mine, I actually used some CSS and grids to kind of reflow the website on a mobile view, and this was my initial pass. And then I actually did a little pass, and both of these I built in CSS and HTML. These were actually built out. And I tried this little chart here. It wasn't that much more useful with the data. I didn't have nearly as much kind of analytics and data as you did on the sidebar. And that was sort of just the beginning of what I've designed. There's a lot of examples you can see, pages and pages of this app, right, in Figma that I've designed, like everything from homepage to products to advertising, all these different tabs on my app. So spent a while in there building out a lot of tabular data and data related to advertising and SEO and keywords and product ranking. So this here is the marketing site for Lofty Profits. It started very ugly. I kind of wanted to show you my thought process, so I iterated, refined, rinsed, repeat. You can see the first thing I did was, hey, let's make a little wireframe for my marketing website. What are the key things I want to tell people? So I kind of whipped up this very ugly, quick and dirty wireframe. The first pass at my app was this terrible page, to be honest. Lots of illustration at the time was very popular. Just kind of, didn't have a lot to show people, so just kind of made a little marketing site, talked about some of the key things I knew people in the Amazon community would like, so wireframe quality. I refined it a little bit, made the colors pop, added some, some curves and layouts, tried to get key bullet points, a lot of illustrative style going on at the time. And I think this is the one I ended up doing. This is the last actual live version of our one-page website, which was, hey, here's what you need to know, sign up and get it right away. This is all designed by me from scratch, illustrative style, easily can do pixel perfect design. It's a simple marketing site, but and I did a ebook landing page. We tried to do a giveaway for marketing to get people into the app with a cheat sheet. Just illustrative styles I've done. And eventually I just realized that it wasn't in my wheelhouse to market this product. Like having a great product with 200 people using it, yeah, that's just not enough, right? So I actually found that Seller Legend company that I showed you some of their terrible software in the beginning, and they actually bought up my little code base for cheap price, so that they could have nice design. So I took kind of some of their terrible stuff and said, hey, we don't need all this data in the basic views. I've been using your software for a while. What can I do to allow your existing client base, who's a lot of accountants and numbers-based people who want these complex features, to use on my software, but integrate some of the more complicated features that they're already used to using in my software without hiding them. And so I came up with this view for them. And I actually built this in HTML and CSS for them and then sent it over to them. And I don't think they've completely integrated this nice design yet, but you can see this version is kind of a hodgepodge of my application and Seller Legends app, where you can scrub through time, you get some key metrics, you get their much more complicated table view, but it's pretty now, right? Before they had this. This is their table view. This is their table view now. Products. You still have columns. It's clean. You got orders. You can do filtering. You can hide fields, right? You can actually click and toggle on and off expenses and ROI and all these other columns because their users were used to that kind of thing. So they wanted that feature. And so I built it in for them. And building them a mobile view where the users could actually scroll right on their large tables and keep the first column locked in place. I thought that was kind of a unique feature, and I built that for them because they really wanted to be able to browse those complex data even on mobile. So something I designed. Anyway, that's a walkthrough of one of the applications I worked on. I will send you the link to this, and there's additional portfolio stuff. Let me show you here. The reason there's complete Figma designs. All these are not just screenshots, they're actual Figma files. And the reason I'm putting these in here is you can zoom out, you can see the lofty profits stuff I've done here, right here, right? A bunch of SurveyMonkey dashboards. I worked on 2 dashboards tools and designed them from scratch. I was forced to use their SurveyMonkey colors, which is this green, blue, and yellows, and their font system. But this is me building a dashboard. And I know dashboards aren't all that sexy, but this gives you a lot of insight into dashboards I've designed recently for SurveyMonkey, their tool called Engage, and SurveyMonkey CX, to measure customer engagement and employee engagement. And then using their kind of terrible color palette here to design some marketing sets. And you can see all the pieces here. Some of these were imported from SketchUp. They only recently switched to Figma. But you can see me designing and working within their color system and their design system. Some marketing stuff, making it as pretty as I could with their tools and existing stuff, wireframe quality stuff, just various stuff I've worked on. I know these are not that impressive. These are not the 40 things you want to see on a portfolio, but I promise you I can design anything. I also did stuff for a company called Depot Global last year. They were this was a contract gig. They were working on self-driving car fleet management, and they wanted a simple dashboard, right? The back end where people could manage the fleets of cars. So as you can see, I built that, just different controls, very simple, a B2B app. I think Anyway, just trying to build out a little dashboard where they could manage users, cars, how the fleet was, where the car was at, any issues with it. And then there's just a few other examples in here, a lot of dashboard stuff. An ink company I designed their logo for and packaging. I will send this over and some additional stuff. My takeaway would be I can send you not thousands, I can send you hundreds of screenshots of out of context, stuff from skeuomorphic design from the last 8 years before I worked at SurveyMonkey, and I don't think it's that useful or that it's out of date. A lot of out of date stuff. There's nothing that I can design Apple quality stuff all day long. Very high quality, detailed, pixel perfect things. But I feel like a lot of the stuff that I've designed before SurveyMonkey is just dated. I would be more than happy for you to send me any link to any page on Chartmetrics and ask me to just redesign it. Spend a couple hours sending you a mock-up so that you can see my visual style and my ability to do the work you're asking. because otherwise I feel like my portfolio and walkthrough doesn't quite measure up. And yes, I appreciate you letting me show you this. Sorry, I was stumbling a little bit through this. I put this together last night just to show you a project I've worked on, and so walking through it and talking it over video is a little bit time consuming. Thanks.